You may or may not be aware that I am a fairly big fan of the television program Parks and Recreation, and if you are as well, it should come as no surprise when I show to you the cover of this book, which I will talk to you about today, because this is Nick Offerman, who plays Ron Swanson, and he has written a book entitled Paddle Your Own Canoe. As I mentioned before in my review of Mindy Kaling's book, I'm always skeptical about books written by either television personalities or celebrities, because I feel when you're very good at one thing and you break into another medium, then you might just be exploiting yourself. But this book is actually very informative. It's not a memoir per se, but it is an excellent account to Nick Offerman's life so far, and I think he has a lot of very important things to say. Chapter by chapter, Paddle Your Own Canoe takes you through a series of lessons that Nick Offerman wants to teach you. And they sort of begin at this time of his birth and go all the way up through where he is now. And each chapter is a different lesson, whether it is working hard or being nice or how to fall in love, or the chapter about eating meat, because that is something he's very passionate about. All of them fit together in this very tight little way because they are all ideals that he holds for himself. There are a few things that I found very interesting about his story. One is that he's from a very small Midwestern town, which I guess explains the unrelenting drive to work in the outdoors. Two, he got his start in the theater. It always intrigues me when television and film actors that are prominently known get their start in the theater, because I've always viewed theater, I work in one, as people that are in the theater tend to stay in the theater, but that's not always true. There's no real distinction when you're taught drama to learn television or film drama until you get further on your career and you learn the intricacies. But what I appreciated the most in this entire book, other than the fact that it is, of course, as Nick Offerman is, very funny, very dry, witty delivery, just like Ron Swanson, although they are two very different people. What I enjoyed the most was his point about getting outdoors and creating. He goes on for a while about what screens and looking at screens gives us, and in fact it's not very much, which I found interesting because I was reading about not looking at screens, and then knowing that I read on knowing that I was going to make a review about this in which people were going to find out about this medium by looking at a screen. And he makes a very interesting point about the subtle and casual immediate fulfillment of screens, but whereas reading or building or being outdoors can provide you a more fulfilling moment than your phone or your computer ever will. And considering how much time I spend on the internet and how much I enjoy the internet, I thought it was a very interesting thing to note. So if anyone has any thoughts about that, please put them in the comments below. I would love to have that discussion. Overall, I would give this book 4 out of 5 stars. I very much enjoyed it. He is an extremely clever, witty man who has had a very, very interesting and very, very fortunate, but also very funny life. It's definitely worth a read if you are a fan of Parks and Recreation or any of the other various things that Nick Offerman has done. It's only a little over 300 pages, and the reviews that are on the back alone are enough to intrigue anyone. I hope you're having lovely weeks and lovely lives, and I will see you very soon.